I guess I really don't need this face mask right now, as I am here alone in my makeshift studio. But before I remove this mask, I do want to say that COVID-19, the virus, is still around and is still spreading in substantial numbers. It has not disappeared, not yet. Wearing face masks and social distancing are our only means of protecting ourselves and others from getting sick. Okay? Wearing a face mask is not an inconvenience, but it is an act of, how do you do it? An act of love. I've never been good at making hand hearts. Anyhow, though, today I am conducting my first video chat. I will be talking with my friend Michael Boul, or Mike Boul. He is the bass player and noise generator for the experimental band known as White Pea. Hello, Mike. How are you doing? It is so nice to speak with you after all these years and decades.
Yeah, our friendship goes back a long way. You were roommates with Joyce, who was a friend of mine, connected to all the Licorice Pizza record store folks. So, yeah, and we're still alive, and that's a good thing.
Mike and I have known each other since 1983, and after about 25 years, we reconnected on Facebook in 2010. So we've been reconnected for 10 years now. And, well, I always knew that Mike was artistic. I think I kind of knew he made music. I wasn't too sure. He hung out mostly with my roommate Joyce back in those days. But, boy, I sure do love his music. So, okay, so Mike, let me get this out of the way. White Pea. Where did that name come from?
You know, the name White Pea was kind of a adolescent, immature reference to semen, and we decided on the name, or it came up in conversation with the person that I started the band with, Moses Rios, and we both thought it was a good idea and kind of committed to it. You know, sort of, you have to accept what your child is, or the animal that you adopt has bad character, or you're stuck with that because that's good or bad. Once you come up with a name, I feel you can't go back. You have to sort of go to the grave with it.
Right from the first listen, I was sold on the new album. You can shear a wolf, but will it comply? I mean, great album. Actually, I was sold on it before even hearing the music. I mean, I love the album name. The name speaks to me. It says a lot to me.
Yeah, the title I saw referenced in a Penguin compilation book, Writers on Writing, and it was a British person said it, and it was referenced by a female poet. I misplaced the book, so I have no information to give you on who I stole it from, but I folded the paper when I read that title, and it struck me and kept gnawing away at me, and then I realized when this project was completed, that would be perfect for it. Sort of chose itself.
I compare the music to Bob Dylan. Not because it sounds anything like Dylan, but because, like Bob Dylan, White Pea is an acquired taste. it's not for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, that's a high compliment even in comparison. It isn't for everyone, and I'm a firm believer, as a person that's worked at record stores for decades and involved in music, that people don't need to like everything other people like, and no matter how passionate you feel about something, it just might not be for everyone, and that's fine. It's unrealistic to think that everyone will like everything everyone likes, and it's not how the human is, and it's not how history is. So it's fine that people wouldn't like it or appreciate it.
Who are your musical influences? What or who gets your music juices flowing?
Even though I don't think they're a direct influence, there's a British improv group called AMM who are really special and unique, and there's similarities even though it wasn't intentional, and the other members have a ton of baggage to bring to it, and interesting thoughts.
How do you describe the music?
I think this you could describe the music as sounding like a soundtrack in a way, because it's instrumental, and there's a broad palette of sounds brought to it. I think it lends itself to that. I always say it's like soundtrack music. I mean, someone might think that's not the kind of soundtrack they want to hear or whatever, but I think that's a pretty accurate on this record. The other different records have different themes and vibes and energy. It sort of depends kind of what's happening at the time, but this latest one is definitely sounds like a soundtrack.
It's like the music has a fourth dimension. It goes beyond anything I've experienced before. Do I have your permission to call it genius?
You absolutely have the permission to call it genius, and that's a very nice thing to say.
Let's talk about the album's opening track, 10 Years Per Finger. I have 10 fingers. Well, if you include the thumbs, does that mean I'll be around for 100 years?
I'm not sure if you'll be around for 100 years. It's possible. I'm not sure where that's going. Also, I don't know if you'd really want to be around in this world for 100 years, the way it's going. But the song title had to do with torture, which isn't pleasant, but sometimes things aren't.
I listened to this song, and really not just this song, but all the songs, and I'm in awe. How do you do this?
It happened like the rest of this record, in real time. It just was played, and everyone has things they can draw from in a live situation, not just the bass or not just a keyboard or a guitar. You can do more than one thing at a time, so it gives you the opportunity to sound like more people or add, subtract sounds, textures, and it thank heaven always seems to line up, and I can't stress how important it is what the rest of the band does, because it's I kind of watch it while it's happening, especially in live situations, and find it astounding. I'm kind of the grout. I'm a minor boss, and everyone else are the stained glass, the beautiful, and I'm sort of something different. But and I contribute, perhaps too much. But everyone, everyone does a great job and are talented. I think they're exceptional at what they do. The music is very organic in how it's played. There's not a lot of editing or overdubs. I mean, it's pretty much played live. Once in a while we'll add something to it here and there, but in this recording it was basically just the three of us playing live. And the other members, Josh Pollock, Bruce Ackley, Ben Tinker, Christian, Johnny, everyone's been playing a long time, and there's a certain comfort, and that is sort of the that's what's great about a P, in my opinion. Not to sound like an idiot, but there's what comes from everyone is fascinating, and but it's very organic, like folk music.
Then there's Scummy Wrist Escapes. It's almost a tongue twister for me. I mean, that one really amazes me. There's a lot going on here. I mean, I hear something that sounds like a breezy transistor radio wave, which amazingly and seamlessly works its way into what sounds like beautiful chirping birds. Tell me about the vocals on Erectory Whale.
The vocals were a sample, or I believe a live record that Josh was playing during the recording. He has a bunch of things set up. We all do, except for the horn player. He's the horn and no funny stuff. But Josh started playing it, and it was very strong, and so it worked. He always sets the right things in the right places. It's kind of effortless what he does. So that's the origin of that. I don't know who the particular artist was. I mean, it's all sort of happening in real time. So I need to go back and give people credit for titles and all this other stuff. But that'll happen.
I think you guys have come up with a new genre. Noise jazz. I'm going to let that one brew in my tea for a while. Or, okay, I guess my water. Anyhow, Bad Lymph and Faint Brag really make me think of the legendary Ornette Coleman. There's a lot of experimental jazz in your music. Most notably in these two tracks. Bruce Ackley's squawking saxophone has a great deal to do with this. The sax and your noise generation. So Mike, tell me about your noise generators. I'm curious.
I can tell you about a little bit. I don't want to give away any trade secrets, but I have some items, some toys that have been circuit bent. Johnny Bruton, a White Pea member, is an expert at that. And I have a few things I run together which adds to the texture and confusion. So it's sometimes hard to figure out what's making the sound or where the sound's coming from. But I don't use any kind of sampler or any hocus pocus. They're, my bass and a few gizmos, and it's kind of how I run them through some effects. Again, no overdubs that give the strange sound, or which is it took a long time to figure it out and to get them to work. Well, it actually didn't take a long time. It took a while for me to ask a person that's professional how to do it, and once I figured that out, it was to the moon.
What's on the horizon for White Pea?
It's weird in these turbulent times, about talking about the future, but we have another record finished called Begone Dull Care. A few other records finished. It's just a question of releasing them in a physical format or online some way, but I think time is of the essence, so it's a good idea to get all our back catalog. There's a lot of material that hasn't been released, and it's not throwaway stuff. It's stuff that's been specifically earmarked for release. So, now's the time, since, like I said, the world's ending and all.
Before we finish here, tell me a little about your previous band, Indian Bingo. I think I heard about them some time back.
Bingo was a band I was in for some time. A different setup, but there's records and CDs. If you go on Discogs, you can find them. I think some people have put songs up on YouTube. I sort of, even though I'm proud of it, and I'm very happy with how it all went. Since it's in the past, I'm not so excited about digging that up, but it's out there, and you look at Discogs, they're for sale, I would imagine, or eBay, and then some things have been up on YouTube. I haven't done it, but some people have, and it's worth checking out. It's different. I mean, it's with singing, and I was a singer in my previous life before I went to jail, and it's worth checking out. You can find some stuff on YouTube.
And just to let everybody know, they can find the new White Pea album on both Amazon.com and Bandcamp. And I have some links in the description of this video for you guys. That way you can find the album real easy. I make it real easy for you guys to support local and upcoming musicians. Well, thank you, Mike. Thank you very much for doing this interview. It's nice to see you. Nice to hear your voice again after all these years. And I really appreciate your time. And even more, your music has resonated with me and seems to have taken on a very unique life within my own very life. So I thank you again.
I really appreciate your thoughtful questions and your compliments. I think we have a lot of similar tastes or interest in music, so it makes sense that there would be a connection. I will send you copies I have, physical copies I have of stuff. I'll get your address and stuff when I'm not under the glare of the big lights here. And I appreciate your time, and I'm sorry I was kind of slow and late on this, but that's the world. Take care of yourself, and any other questions, or feel free to hit me up.
And I hope you guys out there have enjoyed this video. There will be many more to come. Have a good day.